Hi everyone, it's Debbie from Dare to Date. One of the questions I'm asked often is, does speed dating work in 2018? And I want to tell you, it does. In fact, it works quite often. I've lost count of the number of emails, phone calls, text messages I've got of relationships that have happened either from coming to a singles party or coming to speed dating. There have been marriages, babies, people living together, short to long-term relationships. The list is endless. So yes, it still works in 2018. And look, what I find nowadays is people really are looking for a way to meet and connect. We may have more options than ever before, but sometimes it feels harder and harder to connect. And you know, I'm often asked by guys, what sort of people come speed dating? The quality, particularly of the people that come, is really good. Women particularly like how easy it is. It feels safe to come to an event. You know, they don't have to do these endless messages back and forth that become tiresome. And for women, safety is a big thing. So they do like to come along somewhere where they feel safe and where it's an easy way to meet people. So for anyone that's wondering what sort of people come, there are people just like you and me. And it really is a great way to meet single people. So what I want to do is share some simple tips of what will work if you come to a speed dating event. Now, my first tip is to take the judgment out of it. I always like to ask couples when I meet them how they met and, you know, what's the secret of their success. And to be honest, I know a lot of really happy couples. And what's really interesting is the thing that they all have in common is they tell me that if they'd have met at a speed dating event, at a singles party, or even online, the chances are they wouldn't be in a relationship because they would have said no to each other. They would have found a way to easily rule each other out, you know, and it's kind of interesting. In some relationships, people have gone, well, I really didn't like them to start with. So that is one of the reasons why I tell you to take the judgment out of things at speed dating. You know, people often have a long list of physical characteristics and maybe what job someone does, of what they're looking for. However, a lot of those things, they've chosen a person based on them in the past and they haven't had a lot of success in a relationship. And look, I want to say that, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone, you often, it's very easy to forget what someone looks like. You know, to start with it matters, but in your day-to-day life, you don't actually pay that much attention to what someone looks like. In fact, it is way more important how someone makes you feel than how they look. And we don't pay enough attention to how someone makes us feel. So I would recommend taking the judgment and taking those lists out of the equation when you're choosing someone to be with. Now, the other thing that I would say is stop going for the whole job interview scenario when you meet someone. No one wants a whole list of questions. And think about when you meet someone organically. If you meet someone in a pub, you wouldn't go up to them and say, hi, what do you do for a living? You know, what do you like to do on your weekends? And what star sign are you? And what do you do about this? And blah, blah. That would just put people off. No one wants to be interviewed. In fact, what works best is conversations where you connect with the other person and where a conversation flows. And there is a lot of research about what works at a speed dating event. And it's quite interesting. One of the things that works is when the focus and the attention is on the woman. Now, you want a woman to choose her, so it is really important to be interested in her. And I know many guys fall into the trap of feeling like they've got to sell themselves. So they feel like they've got 5 minutes to say all of their good points. So they kind of launch into a monologue that doesn't work. And research has proven that this actually puts people off. And guys, I've said it before in a video, think about the car salesman where you go and he goes into this whole monologue trying to sell you something that doesn't really fit what you're looking for. The salesman, where it works, is where he listens to you and connects to you. The same works if you want to connect with a woman. The research has found that if you have appreciative language and you find a way to connect with her. So appreciative language, if she says something, you could say, oh, that's really good for you. Or even sympathetic language, she tells a story where there's a terrible ending, you know, relating by saying, oh, that must have felt really terrible for you. The other thing that tends to work is, you know, when you've got a really good connection with someone, you start to finish each other's sentences. That builds connection. So you're not changing the subject, but you're kind of ending their sentences for you. That makes people feel heard and understood. And remember, everyone's number one thing is actually to be heard. We often speak rather than to understand and connect with someone. So a conversation that flows is what works best. And look, the research found that when guys don't know what to talk about and the woman has to ask conversations throughout the whole speed date, or any date for that matter, that it doesn't build a connection and doesn't make the person want to meet them again. So my advice is plan ahead. Have something to say that's not about your work and not about, you know, the deep, meaningful things in life. You know, people sometimes try and be too clever and it doesn't work. Like a conversation, I know people could use this often where they go, what's the most exciting thing that happened to you in the last 30 days? My God, that puts way too much pressure on anyone. Can also make them feel like their life is a little bit dull and boring and that they've got nothing to add in that space. A guy that came to one of my events did a blog for men who divorced over 50, and I think he came to events maybe over, I'm not sure how long a period of time it was, but he did come to a number of events and he really did use them and practice what worked and what didn't work for him. And the great thing is he's in a relationship where he's happy with someone he met at one of my events. And he found that a light-hearted multiple choice question worked better than anything else. So I think the question that he used that worked when he met the lady that he's with at the moment is, if you had to give up either coffee or chocolate, which one would you give up? Now, that's a great question because it can lead to so many other conversations from that one thing. Like the person could say, oh my God, couldn't give up coffee, I'm not a morning person, and launch into something else. In my own case, I went to a detox in India in 2015 and I gave up alcohol, coffee, meat, milk, dairy. I gave up quite a lot of things. And when I came back, you know, I didn't eat meat for quite a long time. I didn't eat dairy for a long time. I gave up alcohol for a month. But the thing that I was able to give up the whole time was coffee. So I haven't had a cup of coffee since December 2015. In my case, I really miss coffee because I love it. And when I smell coffee, I still go, oh my God, I would give anything for a cup of coffee. So for me, I probably launch into a story about going to India and doing this detox, or say that I'm absolutely a chocoholic and couldn't give up chocolate if you paid me. So the whole thing is to have something that you can ask that can make a conversation flow and build a connection with someone. But like I said, the number one thing is what you want to do when you go to speed dating is to make someone want to continue the conversation with you. You don't want to you don't want to find out the details of their lives. You just want to build a connection so they want to meet you again. And that really is quite simple. So I probably talked for long enough. It's been great talking to you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope to see you at an event coming up soon because I can tell you that it does work. Okay? Bye.